Hey guys, this is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area and also a licensed loan originator. Today I want to do a video for you on what metropolitan areas are home prices falling in. Okay, let's get into it. Remember to subscribe to our channel and prick your little notification bell to be notified each time we have a new video. So Redfin did a market analysis, they did a market research to find out what areas or what popular metropolitan areas, let me get my speech together, are home prices falling in. And what they have determined, I'm going to keep looking down because I'm trying to remember everything they said on my note. So they're saying that prices are falling in 11 of the 50 most popular metropolitan areas, okay? And they're saying this has to do a lot with the increase in mortgage rates and also the new tariffs that we have no idea if they're, what's going on with that. I'm doing the video in April of 2025. So the tariff is also affecting it, but they did say that nationwide, median home prices only increased by 2.1% year over year, and this is the slowest it has ever been increasing since September of 2023. So that means nationwide, home prices nationwide, not individually, but nationwide 2.1%. They're also saying they are seeing a drop in home values in some areas, and the last time they have seen this kind of drop is in September of 2023. So I know you're wondering, okay, give it to us. What are some of the areas? So some of the areas, the 11 areas that they're talking about that is being falling, like prices are falling, is San Antonio, Oakland, California, Jacksonville, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Orlando, yeah, Orlando made a list. I'm kind of scared there. Sacramento in California, Fort Worth, Texas, Portland, Oregon, Nashville, Tennessee. And it's kind of crazy for Nashville because we all know these areas, especially Austin, Texas, Orlando, Nashville, Tennessee, these are some of the areas that we have seen a huge increase in people relocating to these areas since COVID. So after COVID came and the big rush came where people realized they could work remotely, these are some of the areas a lot of people were rushing into. So now they're saying that these are the same areas that are now declining. So the question becomes, is it declining because we don't have more people, we don't have the same amount of influx of people going in there? Since they're saying the last decline is in 2023. So is it because we have less people moving there now because people don't really, the whole moving thing has now kind of died down? Or is it because properties in those areas are actually declining? So are they declining because there's less people moving in, so there's less demand? Right? Because these areas were kind of low. People are still relocating to these areas before. And then during COVID or right after COVID, a lot of people were moving. They were like, oh, wait, I could work remotely. I don't have to be in this cold state. I'm out. So they're dashing to the warmer states, right? And all these areas that we just discussed, most of them are warmer areas. So some of the determinant, we have to really, whenever there's a report, we have to figure out what's causing the report, who is doing the report, number one, what is the purpose of the report, and what could be some of the reasons that we're seeing the decline. Because it could be that there's less demand going into these areas now, like the decline is not, there have been a decrease in people actually relocating to these areas, so there is not that much of a demand. Or do we still have the same amount of people relocating to these areas and there's still a decline in property value? What do you guys think? I'm thinking it could be a decrease in demand, right? There's not too many people still moving because there's so much uncertainty in the economy right now that a lot of people are staying put. So that could be one of the determining factors as well. So that's something that we have to determine. However, a lot of buyers are not spending also because of the uncertainty with the tariff, the increase in mortgage interest rates, and the prices of homes. Because even though there's a decline, prices of homes are still high. So the prices of homes are high and interest rates are high. So a lot of people are like, well, should I really buy right now? And with this new tariff and all the uncertainty in the economy, what should we be doing? Maybe we should hold on to our money. So a lot of people don't want to spend their money, whether they're financing or not. So we're seeing less mortgage application. We're seeing less buyers on the market. And the thing is though, no matter what happens on the market, people always have to buy and sell. There's always somebody who are going to need to buy something, and there's always a consumer that's going to want to have to sell property, right? Buying and selling a property will not stop. So it then becomes, if you're a buyer on the market right now that needs to buy, now you have more options and now you have more negotiating room since we have less buyers competing with you. That's something to consider. So if you're a buyer and you're looking to buy a home, now you could decide, now you might be able to get more home for your money, because now, you know, if someone is really, if there's a motivated seller that has to sell, and I'm a buyer and all this stuff is going on, I know I have negotiating power. So I might be able to ask the seller to repair more stuff that they normally would want to repair. I may ask the seller to help me with my closing costs. They may have to do it because they have to sell. So now we have more negotiating power. Another thing Redfin found out was the median U.S. housing payment is $2,848 nationwide. This is only $8 shy of an all-time high mortgage rate, right? So we have a median home price of $2,848. We've seen a jump in interest rates from 6.62% to 6.83%. So interest rates are almost at 7%. We also see new listings increasing by 9.6% year over year. So that means people are still looking to sell. So it looks like the market may tip into a buyer's market. It's not there yet, but it might in some areas, guys. Remember, this is area related. So even some of the 11 cities that we just mentioned, it may be a tipping in a buyer's market. Or if interest rates came down, we don't know if they're coming down or not, that may prevent that from happening. So we may not actually have a tip in to a buyer's market. It might be a balanced market, because that's what we have right now. However, if you're a buyer, you have more negotiating power. If you're a seller and you have to sell, you may want to offer more incentives to someone to buy. Like you may want to offer, maybe paying, if you're in an HOA, which most of the areas in our area are. So if you're in an HOA, maybe you want to, say you pay the first 12 months of the buyer's HOA fees, especially if the HOA fees are high, or maybe the first 3 months, or maybe the first 6 months. That may be a negotiating tool. Maybe you might want to offer some money towards the buyer's closing costs, like actual cash towards the buyer's closing costs. Maybe you want to sell a little bit lower than market value if you really have to sell. Maybe you want to help the buyer with their down payment. I don't know. Maybe you want to gift the buyer. Maybe you want to give the buyers maybe 3 years of a home warranty instead of 1 year, especially if you're competing with new construction, because the builders are giving 1 year warranty. What about if you give the buyer 2 or 3 years home warranty? That's something to think about, right? So there are certain things that you could do to get your property, to cause your property to sell faster if you really have to sell. And if you really have to buy, then you could ask the seller for the things we just mentioned. Hey, Mr. Seller, can you give me 3 year home warranty? Can you pay the HOA fees for me for the next, I don't know, for 3 months after closing, or 6 months, whatever it is. But there's always negotiating power. There's always negotiating power no matter what market it is in. But now it's getting to the point where you have more negotiating power. And if you really have to sell, I would just, like, if I'm advising my seller in today's market, I'm going to say, listen, what are you willing to do? Do you want to give more, a few more years in home warranty? Do you want to offer some closing cost assistance to the buyer? Do you want to pay some HOA fees, maybe 6 months of HOA fees to the buyer? What do you want to do? So these are some of the things that you can do to help to still sell your market for not too low, but give the buyer some incentives as well to buy. So that's what's going on, guys. Lots of uncertainty in the market. Some markets are dipping. Some markets are getting close to being into a buyer's market. Home prices are not coming down tremendously at all. A lot of people are hoping that home prices will come down more. They're not. People are on the fence to buy. They want to save their money. The new tariffs is a big thing over everybody's head. What's going to happen with that? If that was to go through, that's going to affect lumber. It's going to affect a lot of different things that has to do with home buying and everything else for that matter, right? Because there's a lot of moving parts to the real estate market, guys. The real estate market determines the economy, whether you want to believe it or not. Because when somebody buys a home, whether it's new or not, when somebody buys a home, they're buying a lot of different things. They're buying new flooring, they're buying appliances, they're buying furniture, they're buying a new car. All these things are affected by the real estate market. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to want to see the real estate market fall, because if that falls, everything falls with it. And a lot of people are concerned that we may be going into a recession. And if we're going into a recession, nobody's going to want to buy, at least not the people that don't have to. And a lot of people also will not sell, because why would they? Especially the people that got the lower interest rates during the COVID time. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. So let's see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are by commenting on this video. You could always give us a call, send us a text if you want to discuss this further. Our number should be somewhere up here. We could jump on a quick phone call or a Zoom call or even meet in person. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are.